All right, let's get this thing out. All right, let's buzz down this roof, see what we need to put on it. Well, let's take a look-see. Got a bunch of runs and stuff because my gun was, I didn't clean it very good last time, and that gun really doesn't like it when you don't clean it really good. And I don't do that at all. Primer gun. So anyway, it looks like definitely a one more time. You know, there were so many filler, spots where you go through the filler, and the filler, what happens is that yellow filler sands faster than the than the primer, and so it'll map in those areas. So you got to put enough primer over it to make sure that you don't go through the primer. And I didn't have very much primer on it last time. I only shot like 2 light coats. I didn't put like a heavier coat. And I think now, after it's been primed once and had all that glazing done to it, it'll probably go one more time. I think just sand it down one more time and then reprime it, and then it's ready. So I'm not going to just go right to paint. I have to do one more time on this thing, and then we will be ready at that point to start painting some stuff. So we'll figure out what's next.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.
It's got some waves in it, stuff. Got some flaws in it. I don't really care. Again, on the roofs, the very top, I don't care if it's wavy or whatever. On these tall things like vans and these trucks, because they're so high up that it's just pointless to go up there and sit there and try and get it to be perfectly round, just like original and all that. You know, that's not where I'm going. So it just takes a lot of time to do that, and it doesn't give you anything back because you can't see it. So I just work on just this edge around here, kind of, and it's got some flaws in it for sure. They'll show up too, but it won't be that bad. It'll be good enough for a work truck. A truck, you know, that could be used, well, was used for work. Just want it restored. I'm not trying to make it, you know, it's like taking your old barn truck and trying to cherry it out, you know. It's a truck you pulled out of the desert that was all shot up, you know, trying to make it look perfect. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of pointless. Might as well find a better candidate if you're going to do that. And this thing, since there's not many left, gotta see what we got. All right, I know. I left you guys out. I just left you guys out of this part. I didn't really want to move cameras while I was doing this thing, trying to go up and down ladders. I have my reasons. I also had a really low air pressure to spray it. Yeah. So I did get a little bit of orange peel in it. Not enough to squawk at. A little bit back here where it's most noticeable. Because if I turned the pressure up a little more, I could have probably knocked that out, but I didn't bother. Good enough. The roof looks pretty good. I mean, it's got a little motion going on, but for the most part, nobody would ever know. It just looks straight. That's what's nice about round metal. When the metal's around like that, and it goes up like that, round, it can be wavy, you know. Got a little sag up there in the top. might melt in. So let it set for a while and see a little bit later. And we'll check it out. And you can just go ahead and color sand and buff that easily. Nothing. This is because I was lazy. Didn't want to get up on, didn't want to spray this part first. If you spray this part first and you go up and then spray the top, I was spraying the top and I went, I'll just spray the top, and I knew it was going to probably hang, and it did. So, oh well, I sprayed down below it. Maybe it'll blend in. Who knows? Probably not, but it's just what it is. Well, as you guys can see, I still got a ton of work before this thing's even ready. I'm not going to get all this stuff out of here, but that's about all I'm going to do. It's pretty rough looking, but that's all right. It's underneath the floor mat. And I'm just going to spot prime all this stuff. Hand sand it. Man, I still got to do all of these by hand. All that stuff just takes so much time. Part of that I made, part of it I didn't. I think I had a piece butt up right against there. Let's clean that off and give that a little prime. Let's look at it. So I've got to do this thing. Well, that looks pretty good. It's as good as it's going to get. There was so much garbagey stuff in there, but like I said, I'm not going to get it all out. See how that looks a little better. And these little groovy guys here, yeah, a little better. Like I said, I'm just going to sand that down and paint it. All right, so what's this thing? I'll tell you guys here, since we're at the end of the video. All of a sudden my work is, you know, it's like I tell you guys, I'm like a fireman. I don't do anything for a long time, then all of a sudden I might be 2 weeks or a week, you know, and then all of a sudden, oh hey, we need you to go to here, emergency, go tomorrow, you know. That's the way it is. So I mean, and then I'll be busy for 2 weeks, and it just depends on what I'm doing. Some things I'm busy, I'm gone for like a month or 2 months, and then so it's a lot like a fireman, you know. You're on schedule, you're off schedule, kind of thing. But I'm more on call. So anyway, I got this new tool. I was watching a guy in Europe use something like this. This is a much cheaper version of it. They have one called Pro Spot that's much better. I just bought this one, you know, the homeowner style one, and I'll tell you what it does. I haven't got all the stuff for it. I mean, this is the ground clamp it comes with. You know, that's a joke. I mean, the reason they have this is, look at the size of the cord. I mean, that's my finger. It's big. It's a huge cord, so they really need a good ground. And what it is, it's a single-sided spot welder dent puller. I'll be using it on some other things I've got coming up. And what they have is this thing is your gun. So I just figured I'd introduce you guys to this thing. The guys that are watching all this stuff, you guys will get to know first. And you put you can put a slide hammer on it like this. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you guys are in frame. Yeah, let's maybe widen it up a little bit more so you can see. That's bad. There, how about that? So you can put this thing on there. If you have a dent, you can, on the low part of your dent, you take this part and you say, let's say there's a dent right here, and I make it bare metal. I can stab this thing on here, pull the trigger, it spot welds this on the dent, and then you can pull it with a slide hammer. You can just pull on it with your hands, and then when you need it to come loose, all you do is twist it a little bit and it breaks off. So it's a temporary spot weld for dent pulling, but it also, and a lot of people don't know this about this machine. In fact, I didn't know about it. And I was just watching a guy in Europe use one, and what it has is a tip. Show you that real quick. It has a tip. Hang on. So it has this tip here. See that pointed guy? Look kind of familiar? This is a single-sided spot welder. So you ground it. You take this tip. Let's say I was doing a spot weld right here. I put this on here. I pull the trigger, and it'll actually spot weld that temporarily. Now, it's not, you know, it's not a good enough spot weld for an insurance company to allow you to do it on a car. But there's a lot of things on a restoration you could use that for. The spot weld is not, apparently is not that strong, but I don't know. It could be strong enough for some things, but it might be up to your discretion when to use it. I wouldn't say to use it for like a set of cargo floors or something like that. But what you could use it for is, so let's say you're going to put something on with panel adhesive, and this is perfectly legitimate. If you're going to put it on with panel adhesive, instead of using sheet metal screws to hold it in place, you could say let's say I was putting on this seam right here with panel adhesive, right? And then I wanted this thing to stay in place. So I put some panel adhesive here, I leave a void and right in here in this area, and then I would put more panel adhesive. So in the voided area, I could take this thing say if it was an unreachable place like a cargo floor or something like that, put it on here, push on it, hold, and then it'll actually weld it on there in that area so that it'll hold in place so the panel adhesive can do its job and dry. So those are the types of things you can use it for, plus pulling dents. There's also, you can use it to, like for instance, if you just want to, they have all these washers in here and stuff. You can weld a washer on with it. You can actually spot weld on a stud with it. There's a lot of different things you can use it for. So it's also a stud welder, and they hold on pretty good. So, you know, but for some reason it's not approved for, you know, that's why they have $20,000 spot welders. Like if you used your Harbor Freight, you know, pincher to do something on a car as a repair in a repair shop, I bet you anything that would probably not pass. They have a $20,000 machine that does that, and you know, it's not your homeowner guy. But to me, the spot welder, if you are careful and you use it enough, and use it right, and you make sure you check the welds with a hammer and make sure that they're holding, you know, it's at your discretion. You know, it's your car. It's not like you're trying to replicate an original factory car. So, you know, it's just up to you. So this is kind of a cool little tool to have. On eBay, they're about 300 bucks. The really good ones are about 1,500. So the way I always look at it is, look, you know, you start out with a tool, you buy something, you try it. If you like it, if you use it a lot, and you upgrade, you know. So that's one of the things I do, a lot of Harbor Freight stuff. I'll buy stuff from Harbor Freight. Sometimes I'll never wear the tool out. Sometimes it's a really good tool, like the Earthquake Impact. Really good tool. That's mine sitting down in the dust down there. One of them. I have two. But, you know, the Earthquake Impacts, they're really good, you know. And what happens is if you use it enough and you wear it out, you might want to go, hey, you know what? You know, this was pretty good and it was worth it. Now I'm going to go out and, you know, step it up and buy the Milwaukee. You know, maybe that's what you know, so that's the way I look at tools. You know, if you're using it enough, it's worth it. If you're not, and you don't really benefit from it that much, or you didn't really, or maybe the cheap one didn't do the job, maybe, you know, sometimes you'll want to go to the better one. But that's the way I kind of go with things. So I got this thing as just a try it and see. And like I said, you know, the other ones are better. I mean, they have ones that are on a cart and stuff like that. They're really cool, you know. But this is a nice little homeowner guy to play around with stuff. Somebody like me, you know. So anyway, I thought it was kind of cool. I thought I'd share it with you guys right here at the end. And apparently, unfortunately, I can't do much more on this thing. And it's going to be several days, probably, of sanding the inside to get this thing ready to paint. So I probably got a couple more days on sanding. And it's kind of boring to watch, really. So anyway, I'll go ahead and end it here. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me see what your thoughts are. Talk to you next one.